or finding a pew Bible and turning with me to our passage for this morning, which is Proverbs chapter 3, verses 13 through 35. So Proverbs 3, 13 through 35. If you've been joining us this summer, you know that we are spending our summer in the study of the book of Proverbs, also known as the book of God's wisdom. So as we've seen now, as we've gotten in chapter 3, the wisdom of Proverbs is pointing us to what is true wisdom. That's not the wisdom of the world, but it's the wisdom of God. And so when we look at the wisdom of the world, what we find is that wisdom is always changing and evolving, because the wisdom of the world is subject to the whims of culture and society. Worldly wisdom cannot stand on its own, does not stand on its own. Worldly wisdom stands hand in hand with current culture, society, and trends. So wherever culture, society, and trends leads, that's where worldly wisdom will lead along with. So to use a biblical illustration, worldly wisdom is like shifting sand. And you don't always know where it's going to shift. And if you try to build anything upon shifting sand, it's going to eventually come crumbling down. You can't build anything of lasting importance upon it. So worldly wisdom is never the answer. It will always disappoint, always cause our lives to crumble down around us. And so what the book of Proverbs does is it helps us contrast that with biblical wisdom. And what we find with biblical wisdom is that it is eternal, because it's the wisdom of the eternal God. And in eternal, we're not just talking about length of time, we're talking about his unchanging nature. That God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. God's wisdom is not predicated upon what the nightly news says, or which